Hello. I'm Elena, and I'm a lecturer in marketing. So I thought that it would be nice to talk about my research. I participated 2 weeks ago to a student voice committee, and that was a time when a student said that, oh, it's nice to see academics in social events because that's the only time when academics feel human-like. Yeah. So I thought I could just say a few things about my research without really talking about my research, but just say the background of it and how it feels like to be a researcher. So everything started with this notebook. It says cooking, and it dates back to 1996 when I was 9 years old. So at that time, my dad was going for hunting in rural areas of Greece. And the thing is that I love animals, so I didn't really want to participate. And I was thinking what else I could do. So what I did is called data collection. Yeah. And I was finding elderly women in these rural areas, and I was asking them, so what's your favorite recipe? And I was just writing it down, and then I was going to my grandmother when we used to cook together, and I was telling her, so these are recipes from women at your age, so they are really experienced. And maybe we could cook these as well, and we can learn more about Greek recipes, traditional recipes. And so this is what I was doing. I was collecting data, and then we were just applying these. Apart from that, I was spending time with my grandfather. So this is me at his farm. Down to earth and surrounded by tomatoes, vines, all these nice things that he had. And I was really, really happy and excited. And this is just when I started to learn more about agriculture and also about cooking. And to be honest with you, since then, nothing has changed. So this is Edinburgh. It's an organic farm in Edinburgh, and this is me. It's when I participated to a very interesting project, which you may find more information about it online. So it's called Strength to Food. And at the time, the project coordinator was my supervisor, Professor Matthew Gordon, who helped me very much with my PhD, and he has been very supportive. So he invited me to talk about my research to this project and say a few things about qualitative research and how you can collect data by conducting interviews. And that's a picture which I took during my data collection. I conducted interviews with ethnic restaurant owners in the UK. And they were kind enough sometimes to offer me a Greek coffee or food. So I really enjoyed collecting data for my PhD, and I was just doing what I what I always wanted to do. So I thought that I could interact with you at this stage and talk about one of my findings. So if you could just help me with this. Could you just raise your left hand? Okay, so we will apply semiotics here, which means that we will use sign. So your left hand supposed to signifies food, and then you have your right hand, which signifies social media. Okay? So your next move should be to connect those two. Okay, so any ideas what you get here? Instagram? Yeah. So what you get is actually a network. So food is the core meaning here. In this case, it's a restaurant, an ethnic restaurant. And people talk about the authenticity of this restaurant and about the quality of the food. And as you know, these days, we live in a digital world as well. So consumers tend to communicate their authenticity perceptions via the e-word of mouth, the electronic word of mouth, or of course the word of mouth. And this is how a whole network, a communication network, is structured, and it surrounds food. Everything was going really great with my research. I had very interesting findings to present in international conferences. And then I got a position as a lecturer here at Newcastle University Business School. And I moved to a new flat at Arthur's Hill. And everything was fine, and it was a sunny day back in 2016. So, and you know, we don't get many sunny days here at Newcastle, yeah? So I decided to open my window and just enjoy the nice weather. And suddenly I heard people running, and then a girl shouting. Then I heard police, and then I heard a helicopter. So I was then informed by a police officer that a girl was stabbed and that she died at the age of 26. And for about 6 months, I was thinking of this incident, and I had panic attacks twice a day. And it took me a year to recover, but all this time I was thinking that I have the privilege to be alive, and that other people younger than me, 3 years younger than me, had died. So I should enjoy life more, and no matter what I do, even on my daily life, I should enjoy what I'm doing. And the remedy of this situation has been work. So I was concentrating on my work and how I could do a more creative teaching so that I would enjoy it more and that my students would enjoy it more. And the result of that had been to be rewarded with the Teaching Excellence Award by the Academy of Marketing, because I applied creative techniques. I used music and color during my teaching. And so during that black period of my life, I was thinking that, yeah, this is what I should do. I should just change any negative experience into a positive one. And it was a time when I was thinking, but how did I really get here? How did I move from Greece to the UK? And it was exactly that thing, that I have been always changing a negative experience into a positive one. So when I was a student, there was an incident in Greece when a 16-year-old student died because a police officer shot him with his gun. For no reason, really, just because he had the power to do so. And by the way, 10 years later, today, that police officer is still not in jail. So that was the first time when I was thinking, do I really belong here in Greece? There is no justice. The educational system is really mediocre. And I was thinking maybe I should move abroad and continue my studies abroad. And I've been thinking this for years and years, but I was quite reluctant to do so until the time that another incident occurred. And it was again a very young rapper who was again stabbed and attacked by 15 fascists in Athens. He died literally in the hands of his girlfriend, and again, there were 4 police officers just in the corner of the streets doing nothing about it. And this is literally the day when I decided I certainly did not belong here in this country. And that was the day when I booked my tickets to move to the UK. Literally, that was the day. I had already applied for a PhD, of course, but I was quite hesitant of moving here and leaving back my family and my friends. But after that incident, it was clear to me that there was no room for me to be in Greece, and that's why I decided to come here. And also have to thank my mom, because she's from Middlesbrough, you know, so she was telling me that you should return to your roots and find more about your British identity. And so I did, and I moved here, and I did what I always wanted to do. So my first research was about food marketing, and I was really, really pleased to be here, to find more, yes, about my roots, about my British heritage. And so there is a Greek poem which says actually that roots have nothing to do about ethnicities and stuff like that. So our roots supposed not to return us back to them, but our roots supposed to feed us and help us develop our branches. So that's actually my message to you, that you should turn any negative experience that you have to a positive one, and to move forward and develop. And one more thing. So my current research is about fashion marketing, but I think this is clear, right? Thank you.
Just stay with me on the stage for a little bit. Yeah, I've got a few questions for you, actually. Yes. First of all, I want to mention, thanks for mentioning Artezil. I live there as well. It's a beautiful area, safe area. You're definitely not going to get stabbed there. And actually, I want to go back to the authenticity subject of the food, sure. Which I can actually quite relate to myself, because I'm an immigrant. And the question that just sparked in my mind is, with our society...
I don't think that people are immigrants, really. I just,
exactly,
you know,
yeah. I think that we just live in a more globalized society, so people,
exactly.
Like the boundaries between countries, they kind of dissipate, right? So my question with you would be, for people like you and me, for example, what would be your suggestion on how we can increase the interest in cooking authentic food and maybe supporting authentic food?
Well, obviously the answer is social media and electronic word of mouth. I guess with talks like these, and with conferences and with interaction and social media, we can just present our findings and say how important it is, you know, to have food of good quality and authentic food, because there are also health benefits that we can gain, for instance, from the Mediterranean diet.
And it's probably as part of the culture as much as, for example, the anthem or the flag of a country is, right? Anyway, Elena, thank you so much for your talk.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
A round of applause for Elena.